Hey everyone, this is Hypo and welcome to another episode of Puzzle Playlist. Today we'll be playing Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for the Game Boy Color. And we'll be playing through the single player challenge mode, which is pretty much the story mode for this game. And we'll be playing on easy just so I can plow through it. No, I'm just kidding. There's actually a good reason why I'm actually playing on easy instead of some of the other modes that we've seen. So one of them being just in case anything happens to the recording, and the other one being that, as you can see, there are some unlockable slots for Pokemon there, and we'll be covering those towards the end of the video. And also, I'm not going to be too worried about any of the dialogue, because let's be honest, a lot of it's just going to be like, nah, you'll never defeat me, and then when we defeat him, be like, ah, I can't believe you defeated me, and that's pretty much it. So, this game is based on Tetris Attack for the SNES, and for those of you who don't know Tetris Attack all that well, pretty much the goal of the game is to take out your opponent's HP, as well as make combo. And the way you take out your opponent's HP is to make what are called combos and chains. Now, combos are when you match 4 or more blocks together, like so. And so you can also match 3 together to clear out blocks, but it won't do any damage unless you do what are called chains. And so chains occur whenever you match consecutive blocks, like if you match 3 and then another block drops on another matching block to make another 3 or more, then that's what happens when you make a chain. And you'll know when you make a chain whenever you see a ×2 or ×3 or so on and so forth. So that's pretty much the main gameplay of Tetris Attack. And so next up is Bugsy with his Kakuna rather. I know that really messed me up when I found out that Bugsy was actually a guy instead of a girl, which, to be fair, it's kind of ambiguous because the way that he's drawn it's really hard to tell. So one strategy that I would say you can use to kind of make things go a lot smoother, even though it seems a bit counterintuitive, is to press and hold B to make more blocks appear. Now, this becomes especially useful on some of the harder difficulties when your opponents are starting to make chains and combos on you, and they just start filling up your queue with garbage. That's what the blocks are called whenever your opponent makes a combo or chain. You'll notice that these long horizontal blocks will start to fall into your queue, and those are referred to as garbage. So whenever they start building up garbage on you, it's especially useful to start building up chains on your... See, like, that's garbage. No, seriously, that's actually what it's called. But that becomes especially useful whenever your opponent starts building up combos and chains on you and starts filling up your queue with garbage. And so, in order to clear out the garbage, what you want to do is you could just it's just as simple as matching 3 blocks together on top of the garbage block, and then whenever you make a match, then the garbage block will start to drop blocks for you. And occasionally the game will be generous and like literally give you a chain in order to match your blocks together. And so a little bit of history about this game. So like I said before, it's based on Tetris Attack, which originally released on the SNES back in 1996 with Yoshi's Island characters. But it was originally released in Japan in 1995 under the name Panel Upon. Now, some of you may recognize Lipstick. Lip is the protagonist from the Panel Upon series and maybe best known for her weapon in Super Smash Bros. Called Lipstick. Those of you who don't know what that is, that's pretty much that's that flower wand that you whack people with, and depending on how hard you whack them, the bigger the flower will be on their head, and it'll sap more damage on them. And pretty much the main goal of that game was to save all the fairies were, I guess, hypnotized by this evil wizard, and you had to save the land by defeating your fairy friends and turning them back to normal. And that was pretty much it. And so I never actually played the original Tetris Attack. This is the only version of Tetris Attack that I've ever played. The latest one that's out right now is called Planet Puzzle League for the DS, which came out back in 2007. And it's kind of interesting that we haven't had a Tetris Attack game in quite some time, and I think it's high time that we have one. So, a little bit of my history with this game. I originally got this game when I was about 6 or 7 for Christmas, and this game it's funny that I even have this game because I originally had wanted Pokemon Puzzle League for the N64, but my parents didn't really see the purpose in buying a game for a console that I barely even played because, for whatever reason, I was just, like, deathly scared of 3D models back then. I think Super Mario 64 was being the first game that I ever played, was the only game that I had for the N64 at the time, and just the 3D model of Bowser just, like, really terrified me back then. It even got to the point where I had to go see a child psychologist to get that fear to get rid of that fear of 3D models. And, you know, he was a pretty cool dude. He did little silly magic tricks, but, you know, being like 7 years old at the time, they were like the best thing ever. And so, well, obviously, I eventually grew out my fear of 3D models. Thank goodness. I mean, I would hope that I did. Yeah, so this game, along with, I was saying, Pokemon Puzzle League was actually was what I originally wanted, but, you know, like I said, they didn't buy it for me because I didn't play it all that much. This game was probably a string of games where I got the opposite, me or my sister got the opposite version of what we actually wanted. For instance, I had wanted Attacking the Power of Juju for the GameCube, but I ended up getting the Game Boy Advance version, and then another time where my sister wanted the Mario Tennis RPG for Game Boy Advance, when we ended up getting Mario Power Tennis for GameCube. And it's just things like that where I'm not trying to be ungrateful or anything. I'm actually glad that I ended up getting this game, because this game is still a ton of fun to me. I very much enjoy it. This is one of my childhood favorites, and this is one of the games along with Tetris DX that really got me into the puzzle genre. That really got me into really just enjoying a good old-fashioned puzzle game, well, really any puzzle game for that matter. And this, along with Pokemon Pinball, was one of the very first Pokemon games that I ever played before actually getting my first main series RPG being Pokemon Silver, which I will say right now, that's probably my favorite game ever. I'll probably stream that at some point. I mean, that was one of the first games I ever actually streamed, but I don't know what it is about it. It's just, I guess it was like really one of the first games where I felt like I was going on a real adventure, where I felt as if I was actually, because I was really into the anime back then, and it almost felt like I was having my very own adventure. It was probably the very first game where I clocked in hundreds on hundreds of hours. Unfortunately, I still have my original cartridge. Not unfortunately, I still have it, but unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. But I still have the cartridge. I also have a game. I also have a gold version that's probably still working. It was funny that I even had that gold version because I originally borrowed that from an acquaintance of mine back in high school, but I never ended up getting it back to him. It even still has his name taped onto the cartridge too. And so, here we have for Fighting Claire. This is going to be the last challenge that we had to do for this mode here. And pretty soon I'll be going over the unlockable Pokemon that we can find throughout the game. I'll also be going over different game modes as well because they are pretty different. And there is one line of text that I will actually touch upon towards the end of this game as well. So that should do it for easy mode. Like I said, we just plowed through it pretty quickly actually. So unfortunately we can't skip this, so we actually have to pay attention to this a bit. So it says, you're not bad, but you're not ready for the next level yet. You still need more training. Yeah, so it gives us the congratulations screen. So So I'm going to cut ahead and we'll be going through each of the unlockable Pokemon that we can hope to unlock during this mode, so I'll see you in a little bit. For each of the 6 unlockable Pokemon, you want to keep in mind that you want to do these on normal or higher difficulty, and you also want to do these before you get to Claire. And you'll also know when you've done it whenever the dialogue is unskippable after you've defeated a gym leader. Now, Pikachu is fairly simple to unlock. What you want to do is make a 6-block combo, and the easiest way to do this is take 2 pairs of matching blocks that are stacked on top of one another, and look for the matching block that's rising out of the queue, and match those 2 sets of blocks with the matching block from the bottom. After you do this, you'll fight a gentleman, defeat him, and you'll get your Pikachu. Up next is Togepi. This time around, you want to make a 10-block combo or higher, and using a similar strategy as before, this time you want to take 4 sets of matching blocks stacked on top of one another, and look for the matching block that's rising from the bottom of the queue, match them together to make a 12-block combo, after which you'll fight a Pokefan, defeat him, and you'll get your Togepi. In order to unlock Bellossom, what you need to do is defeat your opponent within 25 seconds or less. Now, I'd say a good strategy for doing this, and with all these unlockable Pokemon, is to have Faulkner be your designated punching bag and defeat his Pidgey over and over again until you get your unlock. After which you'll fight Alas, defeat her, and you'll get your Bellossom. Next up, we have Meryl. This time around, you want to make a 4 chain, and after which you'll fight a Swimmer, defeat him, and you'll get your Meryl. Now, Pichu can be pretty tricky to unlock. What you need to do is last at least 4 minutes in a challenge stage. Now, this can get tricky for 2 reasons. 1, the game is kind of finicky with deciding how much time is appropriate to give you the challenge. Because I've done this where I've defeated my opponent with 4:03 left on the clock, and the game did not give it to me. The second reason is as time goes on, the blocks start to rise faster and faster from the bottom. Although after you defeat your opponent with the set requirements, defeat the Pokefan, and you'll get your Pichu. Now, last and certainly not least, we have Centric. Now, this little sack of joy is by far the hardest to unlock. What you need to do in order to unlock it is complete a 7 chain. Now, I would suggest doing this on a harder difficulty because doing a 7 chain on normal is like a one-shot on any Pokemon that you have to face. And after you complete it, you'll fight a Beauty, defeat her, and you'll get your Centric. There are also 4 other baby Pokemon that you can unlock as well, and I'll just put how to unlock them on screen right now. Now, if you're playing on easy mode like I did for the main playthrough, then your journey will end as soon as you defeat Claire. However, if you continue on to normal or a harder difficulty, then you'll be moving on to the Indigo Plateau, where just like the main game, you'll be fighting the Elite Four from the Johto region. You'll fight Will with his Jinx, Koga with his Crobat, Bruno with his Hitmontop, and Karen with her Murkrow. Now, if you move on to an even harder difficulty, then at the end, you'll fight the champion Lance with his Dragonite. Now, after the credits are done rolling after you defeat Lance for the first time, the game will tell you that there is still one more difficulty setting to unlock. Go back to challenge mode and select hard mode, but don't press A on hard mode. What you want to do is hold down select and press A on hard mode, and you'll unlock super hard mode. But there is still one more difficulty setting to unlock. Do the same thing for hard mode. Hold down select and press A on super hard mode, and you unlock intense mode. And it is just as crazy as it sounds, if not harder. And just to show you that they're not messing around, all the frames are in black now. And it is just I've never completed this mode. It is just that crazy. But I think we'll just leave it at that. I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been Hypo Aloe. And if you want to play this game for yourself, if you have a 3DS, this game is worth $5 on the eShop, and you can go download it right now. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.